You know, in the world of law enforcement, some organizations really stand out, not just for what they do, but for how they do it. Today, we're going to take a look at one of those, Pakistan's National Highways and Motorway Police. This is an agency that, right from the start, has tried to be a model of efficiency, service, and integrity on the country's busiest roads.
And it all kicks off with this simple, powerful promise. Seriously, this isn't just some catchy slogan they put on their cars. It's the bedrock principle that guides every single thing they do, from patrolling miles of empty highway to helping a family stranded on the side of the road. It's all about safety first and foremost.
All right, let's break this down. We're going to start with that core promise, then look at how this whole force came into being. We'll get a sense of the massive scale they're working on, and then we'll dive into the good stuff, what it takes to become an officer, the cool tech they're using, and why their job is about so much more than just handing out tickets.
So let's circle back to that mission statement. The entire identity of the NHMP is built on this really clear, citizen-focused idea. It's not just about rules and fines. It's a deep commitment to making Pakistan's most vital roads safe for every single person who uses them. But where did this whole philosophy even come from?
Well, to really get the NHMP today, you've got to go back to the beginning. Where did this unique force come from? Because it wasn't some old institution that's been around forever. Its history is actually one of incredibly fast, strategic growth, born from a very specific need as Pakistan's infrastructure started to modernize. And you can see that explosive growth right here. It all started back in '97, created just for the brand new M2 motorway. But they were so successful so quickly that just 4 years later, their job got a whole lot bigger. They were put in charge of the massive N5 National Highway and got their new name, the NHMP. And it didn't stop there. By 2007, they were expanding again, even to the beautiful Makran Coastal Highway. This timeline just shows you this is a force that proved its value fast and was rewarded with a ton of trust and responsibility.
And all that growth has led to a responsibility today that is frankly immense. When we talk about these highways and motorways, we're not just talking about roads. We're talking about the very arteries of the nation's economy. And to really get your head around the scale of their job, you have to look at the numbers. Right now, the NHMP is responsible for nearly 4,000 kilometers of roads. To put that in perspective, that's like driving from Paris all the way to Moscow, and then some. It's just a staggering amount of ground to cover. Which, of course, brings up the million-dollar question. With a network that huge, how on earth do they manage it all effectively? Well, the answer is in a really clear and super organized structure. Okay, now this chart is where it gets interesting, because it shows how they solve that problem of scale. It's a classic top-down breakdown. At the very top, you've got the Inspector General leading the whole force. Then they break the country into a few big regions. Those regions are split into 9 operational zones. And it just keeps getting more granular from there. Zones break down into sectors, and finally, you have the smallest patrol area called a beat. This chain of command is exactly how they make sure every single kilometer of highway has someone responsible for it.
But look, a structure is just a chart on a screen, right? At the end of the day, an organization is only as good as its people. So, what does it actually take to become one of those officers you see out on patrol? Let's walk through the process of joining the NHMP.
And let me tell you, it is not an easy path. The process is tough, starting with pretty strict education requirements. From there, you've got to pass a physical test, a written exam, and then a formal interview. And only if you make it through all of that do you get to the final, thorough medical check. It's a multi-stage filter designed to find the absolute best candidates.
And for those who make the cut, the training is world-class. They get the fundamentals at the NHMP's own dedicated college, but the learning doesn't stop there. They bring in international experts from places like the UK and Germany. We're talking specialized training in everything from advanced driving and first aid to using complex tech. They even offer courses like commando training and paragliding, making sure their officers are ready for literally anything.
Okay, so you have these highly selected, incredibly well-trained officers. That's the human side of the equation. But in the 21st century, even the best officer needs the right tools. And this is another area where the NHMP has really invested in technology. Let's look at the high-tech gear they're using to make their work more efficient, transparent, and effective.
So a perfect example of this is their e-ticketing system. Yep, the days of the old paper ticket books are over. Officers now carry a handheld device that's linked up to a central server. This lets them issue tickets, verify documents, and log the violation right there on the spot.
And trust me,
This is way more than just a convenience. The impact is huge. Think about it. Instant document verification means no arguments about paperwork. Every violation creates a permanent, geotagged record. You can even track officer performance with timestamps. In a world where police accountability is so important, this system builds transparency and trust right into the process. It's a total game changer.
And the cool tech doesn't stop there. Their toolkit is packed. They've got video radars that actually print out photo evidence of speeding, which pretty much ends any roadside debate. They have hydraulic cutters, the jaws of life for rescuing people from car wrecks. They've got night vision for enforcement after dark, and powerful searchlights for emergencies. This is what 21st century policing looks like.
So we've seen the structure, the people, the tech, but if you only focus on the enforcement side, you're really missing half the story. To truly get the NHMP and why they have such a solid reputation, you have to look beyond the tickets. Their identity is just as much about being public servants, being there to help people on their journey.
And this might be the most amazing part. I mean, think about this. We're talking about a police force that runs its own radio station, FM 95, just to give drivers real-time updates and safety tips. They put out travel advisories to help people plan ahead. They even help drivers navigate the licensing process. Every one of these things is designed not to punish, but to help. And that completely changes the relationship between the police and the public. It builds a foundation of trust.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive into the NHMP, from their mission of service to their high-tech tools and incredible training, it really leaves us with a big question. In an age where trust in law enforcement is a constant conversation, could this unique blend of service, technology, and professionalism be a blueprint for the future? Not just for Pakistan, but maybe for police forces all around the world. It's definitely something to think about.